Okay guys, picture this. You've been asking every day, maybe every week, you've asked your child about their day or about school or about friends, and all you get is a shrug or fine or even nothing, or maybe even silence. Maybe you feel the weight in your chest like I do, the worry, the frustration, the helplessness. You want to connect and you want to know what's going on, but it's like they've built a wall and no matter what you do, you just can't reach them. Okay, so I want you to know something before we dive in. That wall is not because your child doesn't love you. It isn't because they don't trust you, and it isn't permanent. Let me say that again. It is not permanent. It's a signal that your child doesn't feel safe, emotionally safe, to share right now. Even in a room filled with calm, filled with love, and filled with good intentions from us, the parents, their nervous system can be saying, nope, not yet, not safe. It's just a feeling. You probably know it if someone has ever asked you, how are you really going? Or tell me what's been happening. And you're like, no, I don't know you that well. I'm not going to open up to you. I remember a parent I worked with, their son, probably almost 13, I think at the time. He hadn't shared anything meaningful for well over a year. Big stuff, little stuff, it didn't matter. And his mum tried everything, questions, talks, gentle nudges, reasoning, even bribing conversation, I remember she said. And then one day, almost out of nowhere, she told me he came into the kitchen and he said, Mum, can I tell you something? And then what followed was an hour of stories and worries and feelings that he had carried alone for months. And this is the thing I want you to take away. This moment was not magic and it wasn't luck. It was the result of months, even maybe years of consistent calm and presence and emotional safety. This parent had stayed steady and curious and patient most of the time and regulated even in the silence. And that is not easy to do. So if you're feeling that heaviness right now, like your child just won't talk, then I want you to take a deep breath. There is hope. And in this episode, I'm going to show you how to create the space, the connection, and the emotional safety that allows your child to open up in their own time and on their own terms. So if that sounds good, you're in the right place. Welcome. I'm glad you clicked on this episode. I am Stephanie Pinto. I'm the host. I'm an emotional intelligence coach and author and speaker and podcaster. And also, I think first and foremost, I'm a mum of two. So this stuff is like what I live and breathe, as well as my work and my career. This is what I do. I'm like surrounded by it all the time. I love it, but then you guys know, if you've heard any other episodes, I always say I'm not perfect. And emotional intelligence is not about being perfect and a cool, calm, collected cucumber 24/7. So before we go any further, I want to quickly acknowledge the Darug Nation. They are the traditional custodians of the land on which I live, work, and record these videos and this podcast. I want to pay my respects to all First Nations people, their elders, and their ancestors, and I acknowledge that sovereignty was never ceded, and I stand in solidarity towards a shared future. Okay, so let's talk about when our child won't open up, won't talk to us, and just shuts down. So maybe you see something that's bothering your child, and maybe every time you ask, you get nothing and they clam up. I've worked with parents who have kids in this space. So I hear it, I feel it, and I get it. And it is not easy. So just like a mini disclaimer, this episode is about creating emotional safety and kind of ticking the right boxes that will allow your child to open up on their own terms, in their own space when they're ready. It's not about forcing the conversation. Okay, so off the get-go, I kind of want to reframe the quote unquote problem. Kids do not refuse to talk to us to be difficult. I think most of us probably know that, like deep down, but they shut down when things feel unsafe. And like I said, kind of in the intro, it doesn't mean they feel physically unsafe. They could be in their bedroom, sitting on their bed with you, the parent who's known them for like 10, 15 years. It doesn't matter to their nervous system. So a situation can be physically safe, but it can still feel emotionally unsafe. And if you think back to times throughout your own life, I bet you will be able to find some of those moments. Maybe you've had a situation in the past. Maybe it's a colleague at work that you don't know that well, or it's your mother-in-law, someone that you just don't feel safe opening up to and being really raw and real with, even though it's a physically, objectively safe situation and you know you should trust them. Doesn't matter. A loving parent, a calm bedroom, good intentions, the child's nervous system can still say nope. So emotional safety is about how it feels, not how logical it looks. Okay, so what shuts kids down? Well, this is kind of like human, I think it's like, what's the word? It's like globally human of us. So kids or adults, it doesn't matter. Feeling judged or corrected or dismissed or even fixed, that can shut a person down in 2 seconds. Parents' emotional tone as well. If you have ever sensed like the feeling of like urgency or anxiety or frustration, maybe with a partner, or disappointment, and they've asked you to like tell you what's going on and things like that, that emotional tone, some kids are just so much more sensitive than others, and that will internally shut them down. I actually think I was probably one of those kids when I was younger too. Too many questions in a row. This can feel like an interrogation. And then, of course, past moments where sharing has led to, unfortunately, consequences or punishments, or even just lectures, or like that minimizing, dismissing, it's not a big deal, don't worry about it, why are you so upset, he didn't mean it, it was an accident, those kind of things. Kids will learn very quickly, is it really worth opening up here? That kind of thing. So how do kids decide if it's safe to share? Okay, maybe this is something I think that is not talked about in this space, in the parenting space very much. The decision to open up happens in the body first, not the brain. So kids will subconsciously ask, is my parent calm or tense? Will my feelings be handled or reacted to? Can I stay regulated if I say this? Like, is it scary? Am I going to be okay or not? And I said subconsciously because kids are not outwardly consciously thinking, let me think, is my parent calm right? No, they're just thinking about the feelings of their body and that it doesn't feel safe or they don't feel ready. So if their body senses a threat, embarrassment or overwhelm, guess what happens? The words shut down. This is where emotional intelligence matters so much more than like asking good questions. We have to know the signs and treat them, like honor them and respect them and understand them. Like I said right at the start, this is not about kids being defiant or rude. It's actually so much deeper than that. Okay, I need to put another little kind of disclaimer, or maybe just something to think about and really keep front of mind here. Many of us as parents have a very natural, well-meaning desire to know everything. I know I do. To protect our kids, to guide them and to prevent mistakes that we don't want them to make because we probably made them and we learn from them and we don't want them to have to go through those tough moments. Like, I get it. They're natural, they're well-meaning, but sometimes it's this desire to like know everything, what is going on with our kids. That drive is very normal. However, when it becomes unconscious, it can make kids feel watched or judged or even pressured, even if your intentions are loving. I want this to just sit with you for a second. It might make your own nervous system react. Letting go doesn't mean disengaging, and it doesn't mean you don't care. It means that you are trusting your child's inner experience. It means accepting that they might process things in their own time. Might. I said might. And also focusing on what you can control, your own calm, your own presence, and your own emotional response. Okay, so hopefully it goes without saying, this is where our emotional intelligence comes in. When we notice our urge to control, if we can slow down, we create space for our kids to feel safe, and then that is when they're much more likely to open up. Like if you create that kind of energy or vibe or feeling, you are putting everyone in an extraordinarily better position to have that open, connected, safe kind of conversation. Okay, guys, I want to pause for a second and I want to read something out to you. I have not thought of this story for literally years. This story happened 6 years ago. I've just done the maths. Okay, let me read it out. A few years ago, I found myself in a really challenging situation outside my son's kindergarten classroom. So he is now in year 6. So yeah, an experience I know many of my coaching clients recognize. The bell had just rung in the morning and the kids were all inside, and my youngest was also with me, ready for preschool drop-off. For some reason that morning, my son became quickly clingy and refused to let us leave, and he physically stuck to me, and my gentle goodbyes and my encouragement only made things worse. He started to cry, and then he got louder and louder, and I remember thinking, oh my God, the bell has gone and the corridor is empty and all the kids are starting their day and we're out here. What to do? The old me, before learning emotional intelligence, would have felt completely overwhelmed and, to be honest, really frustrated. She probably would have also been resentful that he was making his sister late for drop-off and ruining her day. But within a few minutes, my emotional intelligence brain kicked in. This is a daily practice, even for a coach like me. And so I paused and I assessed the situation, and I stopped encouraging and I stopped persuading. I decided to let my youngest go and explore the garden next to the classroom, because I knew that pushing him to go in, threatening or bribing him would have made things only worse. So I put my handbag down and I sat on the concrete, like I literally remember doing this, guys, sitting on the concrete outside his classroom. It was so long ago. I stopped the struggle and I just let him mold into me. I didn't need to say anything. I didn't question or hurry him. I would say we sat there for no more than 15 minutes, and I'm grateful that his teacher checked on us once and she seemed to understand, and then she left us to it. I'm almost done, I promise. How did this end? After we spent time together, he wiped away his tears and his energy was calm, and he said he hadn't wanted his classmates to see him upset, which I completely understood. I validated that, and only once he was ready, I gave him a final big hug and off he went. We were late to preschool, and I was late for a client call back at home, but it actually didn't matter to me. People understand when we're late, and there's a good reason. And my son knew that when he was feeling his worst and needed me the most, I was there to accept it all. Don't underestimate the powerful effects of co-regulation. It is an untapped resource in many families. As a parent, you alone have the ability to bring another into an emotional balance in an invisible way. I cannot encourage parents enough to bring co-regulation into their toolkit with their kids. You now know some of the science behind how two people can balance each other's emotional state via the nervous system. Providing cues of safety and relaxation this way should be one of your top tools as a parent. Okay, so where am I reading that out of? From Chaos to Connection. And at the end of every chapter, I have what I called a chapter challenge. So this particular chapter was about co-regulation, how to support your kids through big emotions. And there's like a bunch of points there, almost like reflection, like a workbook, like a little activity or exercise for you to complete. So I've done this in every single chapter. I think I was reading out of chapter 15. So I want to encourage you, if you are new to this journey, or if you've been listening to a few episodes and maybe following me online, this would be your perfect next step. It's on Amazon. It's a quick, easy, like look how thin it is. I'm just going to hold it up for you guys watching on YouTube. Most of these chapters are like 5, 6, 7, 8 pages. It is really easy to pick up and put down. And most people who get it and send me a message say, obviously they love it, but that I talk how I write. I write how I talk. So it's very conversational. It's easy to read. And that's like years distilled and summarized. Don't do all the research and take all the time and the degrees and stuff. Just like get it from the source. I think you will love it. So please look down below in the show notes or in the YouTube description. You guys will be able to find it. But basically, if you search on Amazon, From Chaos to Connection by Stephanie Pinto, that's me, then you will find it. And that's my invitation to you. Okay, let's talk now about phrases that can open up conversation with our kids instead of closing it down. So I just want to emphasize something. The tone matters way more than the wording. We're thinking like slow, curious, and calm. So some examples are things like, you don't have to talk right now. I'm here when you're ready. Sometimes that might make you like your teeth clench and go like, no, but I need to know now. So I'm not saying this is easy, but like these are things that over time will support your child to feel like they can open up and it is safe to do that with you. Okay, so another one is, I'm not here to fix anything. I just want to understand. That sounds like it was a lot for you. I might be wrong, but it seemed like something upset you today. You're not in trouble. I'm just curious about what's going on for you. We can talk for 2 minutes or 20. You choose. And Okay, so the reason that these will work is that they remove the pressure. They offer your child choice, so that choice and control, that autonomy, like I get to choose when and where and how much. That is really, really powerful. And then also they signal safety. They don't demand disclosure like now. Something really powerful that I think we often forget, I forget to do this, is the power of modeling. Kids do not learn openness from being told to talk more. It's just like kids don't learn to calm down by being told to calm down. They learn it from watching us and seeing how we handle our emotions. Modeling looks like naming your own feelings, admitting when something was hard for you. How rarely do we do that? Like things will happen at work or in your friendships or relationships. We get on with it. We might sweep it under the rug. We might deal with it. And then we don't show or share that with our kids. Obviously, I'm not saying like share your innermost secrets, but to a relationship appropriate and age appropriate way, we can share with our kids when we have handled tough times. Also repairing after we have reacted. That is something that I have literally been working on for years because it wasn't what I was modeled and it was really, really hard for me. So when parents model vulnerability without oversharing, kids are going to learn that feelings are allowed, that they are normal, and that we talk about them, and also that talking doesn't lead to punishment or shame or chaos. I think we do have to talk about when our child just won't open up. Okay, because this is really common. I think this is where a lot of parents feel really stuck, and I have felt this in the past too. Like I'm saying, I am in that boat with you. You cannot make another human talk. We know that, but we kind of forget that. The only thing you can control is your presence, your responses, the emotional climate that you create. And so I want to reassure you, silence doesn't mean failure. Please, if I can drill one thing into you guys, silence doesn't mean failure or you're a bad parent or you haven't been able to achieve this and unlock this level. Connection is happening even when words aren't. I feel like this should be the title of the episode. It's so powerful. Silence doesn't mean failure and connection is happening even when words aren't. Trust that. What helps with sometimes I don't like to call them stubborn kids or kids who are really finding this difficult, backing off because we know pressure can just delay sharing, staying consistent and calm, and then letting conversations happen sideways. This is what I call when conversations happen sideways. It's in the car, it's while you're walking, it's while you're doing something together. It's when you're doing a puzzle or a board game. Even my husband, so Alex, who's been on the podcast, he talks about the fact that when him and his mates get together and play board games or he's on the computer playing games with other guys, they are actually talking about their life and their kids and their wife and what's happening and how things are going and work. So sideways conversations are still very valid. Sometimes the most powerful message that you can give a kid is, hey, I trust you and I'm here. So remember I said on their terms, in their own way. That's what we have to kind of almost release and let go for that to happen. Okay, a couple of last little things. This one is really powerful. We know so much more about the nervous system and the body than we ever did before, and obviously the brain. I want to talk about somatic calming because this can be when the body is the block, if that makes sense. So if you think of the idea that vulnerability requires a regulated nervous system, if a child's nervous system is activated, mobilized, fight or flight, like low level or full all the way to yelling, screaming, door slamming, that kind of thing, talking is going to be physiologically hard. So gentle somatic supports that we can offer our kids, somatic meaning of the body, is sitting side by side rather than face to face, slowing down our own breathing first, offering some kind of movement like walking, stretching, tossing a ball, that kind of thing, and softening our tone, slowing the pace. I often say fewer words. I would also suggest that outside of these emotionally charged moments, we work with our kids, not even work with our kids, like bring into our family culture and our day or our week some like somatic practices that help us to find calm when we are, just call it stressed or annoyed, or maybe for teenagers, pissed off, right? Like what can they do? Do we talk about that? Like what do we do when we're really upset, angry, anxious, worried, nervous, mad, that kind of thing? How do we calm our body? What works for you? Like you can be the model and then say, what do you think? Like, have you ever tried any of that, or have any of your friends? Just don't worry if you feel like the conversation is a little bit like weird or strange or embarrassing. Like your kids will let you know. And most of the time we think that and they don't really care. just do it. So last thing to say is that regulation will open the door to communication. It's not like the other way around. Okay, so please remember that you're not trying to extract information, even though sometimes it really feels like we are and we want to. What you're doing or what your goal is to build safety with your kids. Emotional safety is built over time. It is not in one conversation, and it might not even be in 1 month or 1 year. Okay, this stuff can take time. When your kids feel safe in your presence and safe being vulnerable and opening up, which again is really hard for a lot of adults, talking does become optional, and that's when things can happen. So I want to leave you with this. If you stay calm and curious and connected, even in the silence, you are doing the work. Thank you guys for listening. I hope you found that really interesting, insightful, and I hope actually it was really reassuring. Know that you are like ticking a lot of the boxes. You're doing a lot of the things right to support your child. And even if you do have those moments where you're like, oh my God, just like give me one scrap of information, or like, you can't keep going on like this. Like even when you have those moments, be kind to yourself. Give yourself some self-compassion, right? Because you're human. And then if you can, then you can go back and repair that rupture and just yourself be vulnerable and be honest and be open and say, I'm sorry, I really sucked just then. Like earlier in the kitchen, I'm sorry for yelling. That's on me, not you. And just own it and leave it. So there's a lot you can do, and I'm sure there's a lot you're doing. Please let me know if you want to learn more about emotional intelligence. I mentioned my book in the middle of the episode, so have a look on Amazon for that, or just look down below in the show notes. You will be able to find the direct Amazon link for your country, and I would love if you just take that one next step, give it a read, and I think you will get a lot out of it. Okay, have a great rest of your day and your week, and stay tuned for the next episode. That's going to come up pretty soon. So I will see you there.